The Houston Rockets did the impossible. They beat the Milwaukee Bucks with a healthy Giannis, a healthy Jrue Holiday, and a healthy Chris Middleton. No one thought they could do this, including myself, so I was surprised to see them get a dub in the victory column after this game. Now, what surprised me about this game wasn't them just winning. It was in the fashion that they won. They won with defense, shutting Milwaukee down, especially late in the game, only allowing 13 points in the fourth quarter. An overall defense on Giannis Antetokounmpo, one of the best players in the world, and to me, one of the most dominant forces in the NBA. Now, this game gave us a glimpse of the future where our two top 3 draft picks in Jalen Green and Jabari Smith were able to flash individually what made them great. For Jabari, it was the defense. For Jalen, it was the offense. Now, I'm going to go into what I saw from this game, some takeaways, and why I'm excited about the Rockets' future. First thing I'm going to talk about is Jabari's defense on Giannis. I was impressed. This may be some of the best defense I've seen from a young guy at that position in some time. I mean, there's not a lot of just great defensive forwards in the NBA right now, besides Giannis and maybe AD, but the way in which Jabari is able to defend kind of sets him apart from a lot of guys, because this dude, if you guys notice, was picking up Giannis full court. Now, this is something that I haven't seen, and maybe I have to go back and look to see how many players have actually attempted to pick up Giannis full court and guard him one-on-one for the entirety of the possession. But Jabari is just blessed with the skill set to do so. Now, people may ask, well, it kind of worked a little bit. Why don't people do it more? Because there's not a lot of teams with a guy that's 6'11" with a 7'3" wingspan that has the foot speed, the hand speed, and coordination to be able to stay in front of Giannis while he's trying to dribble. Him putting the pressure on Giannis, kind of challenging his handling skills, really made it hard for him to get that full steam that you see him just destroy a lot of teams with. If you remember, back in the 2019 playoffs, what teams started doing to stop Giannis on the drives was to build the wall. But the Rockets elected to play it more straight up, play him more straight up on a one-on-one basis with a little bit of help from the team. But really, Jabari was on an island a lot in some of these matchups. And early on in the game, Giannis dominated him. It looked like it was going to be another long night. But to Jabari's defense, the kid is a robot. He is a processing machine. He picked up the moves that Giannis was trying to do and he shut them down. Basically, the key to his defense on Giannis was ball pressure, taking up space, and forcing him to either pass or take contested jumpers. And when he did take contested jumpers, he was taking them over a guy that has a 7'3" wingspan, like I said earlier, making it tough on him. Now, when Giannis was getting taking the dubs earlier in the game on Jabari, it all has to do with strength. A lot of the plays that Giannis was able to do was on post-up plays where he got deep post position either from driving or just from work he did prior to getting the ball, and Jabari was just outmatched. But later in the game, you could tell that there was an effort to keep Giannis on the perimeter and kind of set the line of where they didn't want him to cross and allowed him to start working in from there. When he was able to do that, when Jabari forced Giannis to play a more perimeter-oriented game, then Giannis was in Jabari's world, because what makes Jabari great is that he's an all-world perimeter defender that could scale up to be a big, and this is just exciting. I mean, you have a guy that could guard 1 through 5. He could guard players like Giannis and your point guard. I've seen him, step out on some of the best guards in the NBA and have him pass the ball out like a Stephen Curry, and then now you see him posting up on Giannis Antetokounmpo. You see him guarding just different players. Guys, this is scary stuff as far as in a good way. There's a chance, and this may be a hot take to some people, that Jabari is actually the highest upside prospect on the Rockets right now. Now, hear me out. I'm not saying that Jalen isn't like an all-world level player that could go on to be like the next Kobe or Michael Jordan, but there is something to be said about the physical intangibles that Jabari provides and the two-way star ability. The offense is going to be there. Never worried about the offense. The offense is going to be there. Offense is a thing that comes with experience, especially when you have good shooting, you have fundamentals and good footwork. The offensive game is going to catch up at some point, but what you can't teach is defense and the effort and the anticipation and the ability to be able to use all those tools and skills that you're blessed with and apply it in real life. That's what a lot of guys aren't able to do. There are a lot of big dudes in the NBA. There's a lot of big dudes in a lot of sports, but a lot of them don't really know how to put it all together to make their body do what they want it to do. But Jabari does. Jabari does. He is one of those guys. And to me, he is somebody that if he can just keep developing at the pace that he's at, you're basically guaranteeing that he's going to be an all NBA level player. I mean, the way he was guarding tonight, if you put that defensive reel out there in the NBA, it's going to get people's attention. There's coaches watching that right now and saying like the Rockets really found something in this kid. And this is exciting for us as a team because we haven't had a player archetype like this since probably Dream, where you get a forward that is just a lockdown defender. And like I told y'all, my comp for him was Kevin Garnett. And it goes beyond just his ability to guard or his ability to play, solid defense. But it's also in his attitude. The dude's a dog. He doesn't take anything from anybody. He's a fighter. He's getting into it with everybody. He'll argue with the fans. He'll argue with the refs. He'll argue with star players. He doesn't care. And I love that Coach Lucas challenged him to this game, because in the first game when they met against the Bucks, he kind of got punked. That was one of his first games in the NBA and his welcome to the league moment. And it was against one of the best players in the league, and they were just tossing him around. And for him to really show up like he did in this game in a short period of time, relatively, really speaks volumes to his work ethic. And that's something you can really scale up to know that he's going to be great. But Jabari was playing hella defense. I mean, he blocked Giannis. He was just really had him just in hell for that second half. I mean, Giannis hasn't had a scoring output this low in a loss since 2021. The last time Giannis scored less than 16 points in a game was in December 8th, 2021, when he played Miami, and he only had 15 points in a loss. Now, he's had like 16-point games and 15-point games, but they've all been in blowouts of other teams where he doesn't need to play hard and he just gets to sit. But in a loss, he hasn't had a loss like this since Miami. And the same in that game, he was a -11, just like he was for us. But Jabari's defense on him was stellar. And this is exciting. This two-way ability that he has, when that shot and that defense match up, you got a star, man. That's something different. That's something different that you can't really just coach. That's just innate in him to be that type of guy. And it's a mentality. It's the physical attributes. It's the film study, the IQ, all of that being melded into one. Defense is not just hustle. There's a lot of components that make a good defender, and this kid has all of it. The way I look at it, every time that Jabari shuts down a star player on a play into a bad shot, is the same as a Paolo Banchero step back three. Every time that he forces a turnover off of his intense defense, is the same as a Keegan Murray coming off a screen and hitting a three. The way I look at the game, I look at impact. And just like those plays have impact for their teams, whether it's hitting a big bucket or crossing a dude over and getting to generating a shot for a teammate, the defensive stop late in the game is just like that. It's like hitting a dagger three to give your team the go ahead. So Jabari is impacting winning in ways that we would never have imagined. Can you imagine if this was last year? Who would be guarding Giannis? Christian Wood, right? That'll be Wood out there doing that. That'll be Christian Wood out there trying to stop Giannis. And if not, they would have had KJ or Tate or somebody that's way undersized trying to do this, or Sengun or somebody that's too slow trying to do this. You've seen what Giannis did to Bruno. You've seen what he did to Sengun, but you had your rookie out there going toe to toe with him. Now maybe they meet again and Giannis destroys him. I really don't care, but all you want to see with these guys is the flashes of what they could be, because that gives you a foundation to build on. So shout out to Jabari for lockdown defense. Shout out to Jabari for being a dog, and shout out to him for not letting his offensive game hamper what he was trying to do defensively and securing the win for the team. Obviously, the second guy I'm going to talk about is Jalen Green, JG. My man JG going off in this game, dropping 30 points, 7 rebounds. This was a good Jalen Green game. And as you know, he's been kind of streaky lately in the road and home games. At home, he plays like MJ. When he's away on the road, he plays like Michael B. Jordan, right? So he's not really consistent like that, which is typical for a young player that's still trying to develop and learn his craft and add strength and things like that. I think he just needs to find out a shot diet that he really likes. And in this game, I loved his shot diet. This is more of what a Jalen Green game should look like. Run in transition, and run in transition. That's number one for him, to be able to do that, get out, use your athleticism, and get out and get some easy buckets doing that. Number two for him, in order to score, is to be able to use those Sengun screens. Him and Sengun have chemistry. If it's not noticeable to you right now, then I don't know what you're looking at. Like, it is apparent that when Sengun is on the floor for him screening, this dude is a different player than when it's any other big on the court. KPJ has chemistry with Bruno. Jalen has chemistry with Sengun when they run their little two-man action. And on his 12 attempts in this game that he made, 5 of them were directly related to either a Sengun screen or a pass. So that's almost half of his makes were off of Sengun screens or passes. And these are just like wide open makes. There's a lot of things that I really love. One of the plays I really love that they did was a play where KJ handed the ball off to Jalen and set a screen for him. And this was not a drawn up play. This is spontaneous, natural basketball. And you see Sengun step up and turn into a stagger screen, which is really double screen. And you notice that when Jalen got the ball, he got it into an empty corner. Y'all know me, if you watch any of my videos, I speak about the empty corner a lot. Whenever you see an empty corner and a big that plays drop, that spells trouble for the defense. So Sengun does a great job of recognizing that. In the last video I made, I pointed out how he came across the court to set a screen for Jalen going into an empty corner. So anytime Sengun sees an empty corner for Jalen, he always knows that it's time to set a screen, because what you do when you do that is that in that empty corner, there's no help defense there. And if that big is going to play that drop coverage, he's going to be sagged off of the screen. Jalen goes into that empty corner. Basically, it's a practice shot. So that their synergy is good. It's great. And the third thing that Jalen did well tonight in his offensive game that I want him to continue doing is to keep driving into the paint. In my last video reviewing the team's success, they are number 5 in drives in the NBA, and we are the number 1 free throw attempters in the NBA right now. So the fact that when Jalen drives, he's prone to get fouled, and that's exactly what he did late in the game. He didn't settle for a bad shot. When the time was there for us to get a bucket, dude put on his big boy pants and went into the hole, went into the paint, and was able to draw the foul. Even though he only hit one of those 2, it still extended the lead just that much more. So for him, that's big. The aggression late is good. I love the aggression in this game. I've been telling, speaking to you all about Jalen's kind of passiveness late in games. This was a game where he was able to be more assertive, and that's what I want to see. I need to see that in him. Just like Jabari shows that dog mentality when he's playing defense, is Jalen is going to be the primary scorer on this team. He needs to be a dog on that end, and I felt like in some of the games he was kind of a bit too passive. So it was good to see him kind of take the reins in this game, and I'm sure Coach Lucas was in his ear about that because he did touch on it in the post-game conference. But that was great to see from him, the aggression, and that's something I need for him to keep going. Make or miss, you gotta take the Bulls by the horns. Whether he knows it or not, this team is his to take. He is the guy that's drafted the highest. He's a number 2 pick. He is the man. He is the leader that the team needs to look towards. And between him and Jabari and the rest of the guys, they can take this team as far as they can go. The team goes as they go. And you got to see a flash of the 2 cornerstones of this franchise showing you in different ways how they're going to make this team great. For the other guys, Kevin Porter Jr. made a hell of a defensive play to close out the game, kind of hitting Giannis with his own blocked lob attempt like he did to Aiden in the finals, even though the circumstances are way smaller than the finals. Everybody else played well. The Sengun, not really a great Sengun game, but he played good enough, and the team masked his weaknesses good enough for them to win. Bruno gave some great minutes on certain parts of the game. Certain parts he struggled a little bit, but the team also masked his weaknesses. This is the type of games that you want to see from them. These are the type of wins that really set the foundation for what you're trying to do next season, which is compete for a play-in or a playoff spot. So overall, kudos to them, and shout out to Coach Lucas for coaching a hell of a game, keeping the guys engaged, keeping everybody focused, and just keeping the team going while Coach Silas is out dealing with his family issues. And with that, I do want to make a big shout out to Paul Silas, and rest in peace to that man. That is a trailblazer for coaches, for the NBA. He is a figure that's bigger than basketball itself. He's impacted so many players and coaches' lives throughout the league. This guy's been, he's been around since when he played for the Celtics. He played for the Sonics, and he coached for multiple decades with the Hornets, Cleveland, and multiple teams, and just was there through the development of a lot of great players in that time. The most impactful thing that Silas did was also be a person that was able to kind of open doors for African American coaches, not only being an African American coach himself, but also hiring a lot of African American coaches onto his staff who went on to become coaches, including his own son. So giving kind of the opportunity to people and individuals that may have been overlooked in the past, and kind of setting a standard that we can call normal now as we look across the NBA with all these great coaches. coaches. Never judge Paul Silas by his records, because as I said in my other video, a lot of times African American coaches are not given the best teams. Until recently, we've seen what Ime did with the Boston Celtics. We've seen what Monty did with Phoenix when he got in there. We see what Willie Green is doing now. When you give these guys good teams, they perform. We've seen what Tyronn Lue's done. We've seen what Doc Rivers has done, even though some people may call him a fraud. But the point is that the shakes aren't always equal. So for him, he was the trailblazer to just open the door for a lot of these individuals that we see around the league today. So definitely the Chop Shop wants to send a big shout out to his family, and that our prayers are going to be with Coach Silas and his family as they go through this time of losing a loved one that was so impactful to them and to the world. But with that said, great win for the team, great win for the Rockets. We got Phoenix coming in next. Good times right now, man. I love what I'm seeing from the team. Let's just erase Denver and the Spurs game. Use the little Men in Black shiny stick, erase those from your memory, pretend that all the games we've played are the ones we've won, and then the season looks like a perfect success. But otherwise, man, appreciate y'all for rocking with the Chop Shop. If you like this video, go ahead and click the like button, of course. Comment, let me know what was your favorite part about the game. Was it Jabari's defense? Was it Jalen's offense? Was it Kevin Porter and some of the plays he made? Was it the coaching with Coach Lucas and some of the intensity that he was bringing? What was it about the game that you really enjoyed? Let me know in the comments. If you're not subscribed, I don't know what you're doing with yourself. You're just wasting your life, being just a bad person. So hit the subscribe button if you're not already. And as you know, you keep rocking with the Chop Shop. We're gonna keep dropping this heat.